I'm Madison, and I've been saved for about 3.5 years now. And my testimony would start back when I was in junior high. And I grew up in a church. I grew up in a Christian household. And so I always knew about God, but I never knew God. And by the time I grew up in junior high age, that's when I started to question God and question the faith. And along with that, that was also a time where I was pretty overweight as a child, and I got severely bullied for it. And I got called all kinds of names, made fun of a lot. And it made me want to feel some other pain that wasn't from the bullying. And so I started to harm myself on my arm. And at some point, the school found out about it, about the harming, about the bullying. So did my parents, and they took appropriate action. And the bullying stopped, thankfully. But even though the bullying stops, the thoughts are still there, and the thoughts are still there. And it made me just want to make people stop thinking about me that way. And so, okay, if I'm going to stop people thinking about me that way, then I might as well just lose weight, right? And so I started a journey of losing weight, and it's been a few years up to sophomore year of high school. And at that point, I found myself in a close-knit group of friends who were in the LGBT community, with gay, transgender, pronouns, and they would change every now and then, and it was confusing. But with me, I felt like an outlier, and I felt like I am not one with my friends at all. I'm not with them, and I wanted to be a part of them. I wanted to be one with them. I felt a hard case of FOMO, and I tried to force myself to think that I was bi, and I believed I was, and I started to have relationships with other women, and everything of the sorts that I used to be really ashamed of, but that's not me anymore. And, well, it was just a kind of a shameful time for me. And then a year later, in junior year of high school, when I was still trying to lose weight, at that time it spiraled into a full-on eating disorder. And to the point where I will restrict myself of food, to the point where I will only eat under 500 calories, and that's not even enough calories for an infant, let alone a young adult, because I was 17 at the time. And I got really good at hiding it, until one day my mother found out about it, and she had me try to weigh myself. And so I took off my shirt. I had a tank top underneath, and she got so frantic and scared because she could see my bones and my back. My shoulder blades were protruding so out, and she could see my spine. And she wanted to take me to the ER instantly, but my dad, being calm and collected, he persuaded my mom to have a doctor's appointment the next day. And so we did that, and the doctor was very calm and collected in front of me, but towards my parents, when I wasn't around, he wanted to take me to the children's hospital instantly. And when we got to the children's hospital, they checked my vitals, and they admitted me instantly, because apparently my heart rate was around 40 beats per minute. A healthy heart rate of my time would be about 60 to 100. My blood pressure was about 80. A healthy blood pressure for me would be at 100, 120. And a healthy weight of my height would be around 160 to 170. I got myself down to as low as 120. And I was very sick. People started to make comments by the end of the time that I went to the hospital. And I thought I was good at hiding it, but it all blew up. And to the point where the first week I was in the hospital, apparently while I was sleeping, my heart rate would just stop. My heart would stop beating for a few seconds, and it would beat again. And that was early in the year of 2019, about February and March. And after they made me healthy in the hospital again, they admitted me into a psychiatric facility just to make me well mentally, to give me therapy, and it worked. It was nice. And then they discharged me. And it was hard at home trying to eat meals again, and my parents making sure I eat the full meals. But I grew from it, and it became easier over time. And that Easter in 2019, my parents decided to try out this church because they found out about it. And I was still like struggling with my eating disorder a little bit, but be like, hey, why not? New church. Have fun with it. And this was nothing that I would have imagined it would be. And this church stuck in my mind, and I wanted to come back. And so throughout the year of 2019, I started to come back more and more to this church. And the more I learned about Jesus, the more I started to fall in love with him. And one of the sermons that Aaron preached in 2019, I don't remember which one it was, but it started to make me realize that with my sexuality of being bi, like that's not who I am at all, none whatsoever. And I was believing a lie. And knowing that I can have a firm foundation with Jesus, that I don't have to worry about anything and not have to worry about death. For when I was in the hospital, the doctor told me that after she diagnosed me with anorexia nervosa, she told me that if I waited just 2 more weeks to go to the hospital, I would have been dead by then. And I wasn't saved then. And realizing that after I got saved, that if I did die, I don't think I would be going to heaven. And so it's just all of the praise to him for bringing me out of that, for I was so close to death and I had no clue I was. And so at the end of 2019, like I got saved around November and December. And baptized in January 26, 2020. And he brought me out of my questioning of him even being real. He brought me out of my confusion of my sexuality, and he brought me out of literally my grave of almost dying. And now I don't have to fear of death whatsoever, because now I have a firm foundation of knowing where I'll be going after I pass away. Amen. So all of the praise to him.